All right, let's keep it trucking on the ground, man. So here are some of the workhorse backs from last year with 250 runs or more. It's a lot of work. Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, Chris Carson, making a name for himself, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, bounce back year, and Dalvin Cook, best year of his career. First, let's talk about Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb over in Cleveland. Do you guys think Kareem Hunt is a real threat to Nick Chubb's numbers?
I don't. I'm a fan of Nick Chubb. I think he's a beast. I think he's going to really break out this year. I mean, he was a beast last year. I think he led in the last couple of years. He's led the NFL, or he's tied for first, I think, in broken tackles with Christian McCaffrey. And they're going to run the ball more now with Kevin Stefanski, or you at least would think that based on his history that they're going to run the ball more. And then with Baker's struggles last year, I feel like he's really going to get a lot of work this year, and I think he could be in for a big year. So I'm all over Nick Chubb. I don't think Hunt is much of a threat. Maybe he'll get some third down work, some catches out of the backfield, but I'd see at least maybe no more than 20-25% of the carries he'll get.
I respect that, man. I was all about Chubb, especially during the season. I think Chubb is a better ground runner. But then I did some homework. I'm always willing to learn. And the two words that keep getting pushed around in the NFL is versatile and dynamic. And if you're really going to choose an overall back to cover versatility and dynamic, I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. Yeah, he missed some games, but the second he was available, they put him in and he had 11 touches. As far as offensive snaps, he did take 55% of those snaps too. And I know you're a numbers guy, so I just want to throw a couple numbers up because I'm a numbers guy too. The rest of the season, he actually increased his workload. He was in at least 60% of the snaps too. Not as much on the ground, but he was definitely targeted, in the passing game. That was 9 targets his first game, and he averaged anywhere from 4 to 6 the rest of the way. So he's definitely the clear-cut third down back and preferred in passing formations. I think it's a big threat. Chubb's there. He had a great last year, but that's a new squad. Stefanski is going to run the ball. You even saw Chubb and Hunt on the field at the same time last year. I think they're going to be a lot more of that. And who knows? I could see where Chubb gets a lot of the workload because that Cleveland Browns defense is scary. They have some great players and Pro Bowlers on that squad. We just got to see. I just think just based off of last year's numbers towards the end of the season, that's a lot of percentage of shares for snaps for Kareem Hunt.
Hey, 2 good points. I like it. Not enough to sway me though, Drew. Of course I respect it. Of course I could see it. Kareem Hunt was a baller. Just had some things happen and then finds himself in a different situation. But look, Kareem Hunt has to be on his best behavior just to be around. Just to play. Best behavior. So not to get into his off the field stuff, but it's a reality today. The league, it's kind of no tolerance unless you're Josh Gordon. But look, having said that, Coach Stefanski comes from Minnesota. He just put the ball into Dalvin Cook's hands 303 times. Granted, he had a backup that was less accomplished than Kareem Hunt, Alexander Madison. Spot duty, he was deployed for 100 carries on the year. So 100 carries for the backup. I looked at some numbers too, because we're all numbers guys here. I love it. But yeah, so I looked. I'm like, look, Kareem Hunt, he's going to get more than 100 carries. So I started looking at other running backs, just going through the list. Then I landed on the Saints. It might be comparable to what Latavius Murray got, 140 range right there. Because the last 2 seasons, the Saints, they deployed a 60-40 snap percentage. People aren't really paying attention to between Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. I've never been the biggest Kamara fan. I understand the talent. I just always saw the lack of a workload. He might be – how they call someone like a poor man so-and-so? Like, I view Alvin Kamara as the potential guy, and then I view Philip Lindsay as the poor man's Alvin Kamara. That's the kind of mold I see. He's not either built or getting the touches, whatever it is in that scheme. He's not getting all of that. So Latavius Murray is involved. Nick Chubb, I think, is a better running back, built for that position. You know, if Leonard Fournette can boost his receptions 50 plus, I'm sure Nick Chubb can improve in that regard as well. None of them were brought in by the GM. It's a new GM. It's a new head coach. But as long as Chubb's healthy, I think it's his job. Like Paul said, tied for the league lead in tackles. I'm looking at a 70-30, but I don't think it's where Hunt is going to – Hunt will have the opportunity to surpass him. I just don't think he will surpass him. I think Chubb's that good. I think Cleveland is in line for a playoff spot this year. A lot of people thought so last year. Look, when you fire a head coach and a GM, clearly the owner thinks he has the talent on the field to get some W's. So, and I'm in that line of thinking too. I'm not saying you guys have to be, because we're just talking about Nick Chubb, but I think we're talking about a top 4 running back in all of football. Off the top of your head, do you have Chubb in your 1 to 5 range or your 6 to 10 range?
He's in the back half of my top 5. Obviously, I kind of, had some high praise for him in the beginning, but yeah, and then like to your point, that division's wide open. So I mean, I could totally see the Browns, making a playoff push. Drew mentioned their defense, and then they got a pretty solid O-line. If Baker just doesn't play like complete shit again, just protect the ball, run it, just don't turn the ball over. You got all the weapons. You got Odell and Jarvis. Like, there's no excuses, man. Like, if he doesn't do good this year, man, he's going to be on his way out. So, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, Drew, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the talent, I mean, that team is stacked. You have one of the best D-tackle / outside rushers in Garrett. You got a Pro Bowler in Ward. They're all young. You got 2 of the best receivers in the game, just because I think Jarvis Landry is so underrated. And then you have two great backs. It is all on Baker's shoulders, and that's what he kind of proved last year. Couldn't really put money where his mouth was. And, the only thing I like about this year so far is that he called himself out. And he said, hey, I'm not going to say anything. Let's just wait until the season starts. So maybe there's something about either Stefanski or some self-awareness that grew from someone he either loves, his wife, a close family member, a best friend, that just told him, hey, man, just play the game. That's all he needed to do. I mean, he came out of college super accurate. We didn't really see that much in his second year. Will he do it again? I'm not really sure. He definitely has the talent. So like Paul said, man, I'm watching that closely. If they're not winning more than 9-10 games, it has to be Baker, barring injury, of course. But I mean, with that talent, he should be definitely in the playoff hunt, or at least taking that wild card spot.
Fair enough.